fear. Put a book right straight in your ear. Best beware when you come around here. Don't you dare come unprepared. Misdemeanor, watch them start to peep peep. Got them keys to the Jeep peep peep. Misdemeanor, put it on your leak. Ride the beat on a 1, 2, 3. Block.
Tonight it's party time. It's party time tonight. Tonight it's party time. It's party time tonight.
Got Missy Elliott in the house. We got Slick Rig in the house. We doing big things here, kids. Hip hop's finest. Slick Rick and them.
This is National Radio 1.
Radio 1. A decade in Ibiza.
This party is now in session.
Radio 1's big Ibiza weekend has got off to a blistering start.
And welcome to Cafe Mambo. This is Dave Pearce coming to you live from that island in the sun. We're here in Ibiza. It is very, very hot.
Thousands of clubbers have flocked to the Sunshine Island as the holiday season gets into gear.
Best club so far. Privilege. Manumission.
Amnesia.
Brilliant.
They didn't go to bed. They were in Pacha all night. I think they deserve some respect.
Hear me tonight, 'cause my feeling is just so right as we dance by the moonlight. Can't you see? You're my delight. Lady, I just feel like I won't get you out of my mind. I feel love for the first time, and I know that it's true. I can tell by the look in your tonight, 'cause my feeling is just so right as we dance by the moonlight. Can't you see? You're my delight. Lady, I just feel like I won't get you out of my mind. I feel love for the first time, and I know that it's true. I can tell by the look in your eyes.
Beautiful, beautiful play.
Everybody just having such a good time.
There's much more of a buzz.
The atmosphere is absolutely brilliant. The music just hit you.
So hot, so sunny.
You're getting burnt and you're getting drunk.
It's just unbelievable.
It's time to burn. Where do we go from here? Time ain't nothing but time. I now have no fear of my fears, and no more tears to cry. Tomorrow means nothing at all if we don't hear the light. When today places is cold as morning won't never be the same. Now I won't make the same mistakes. Radio 1. Time and time again. A decade in Ibiza. So tell me, how do you do? Finally I meet you. You don't know what I've been through. Waiting and wondering about you. I had a dream of it, but it's about you. And now I know paradise. So tell me, how do you do? Finally I meet you.
Radio 1.
Radio 1 en Ibiza.
The Radio 1 weekend is always the one.
The atmosphere is absolutely amazing, especially when people know that they're going out live on Radio 1.
It always seems to be the most mad, busy, hottest, craziest, sweatiest.
It was everything I thought it was going to be and more.
Just
we couldn't face listening to it on the radio and not being there.
Stuck in traffic on the M25 and listening to that and thinking, oh yeah, you know, great, I love it here.
One big party.
The first time you go to Ibiza, you will be blown away.
Building your appetite for a Saturday night.
It's just Jules. Radio.
It's the most important weekend in dance music of the year, and Radio 1 has officially taken over one of the world's most legendary clubs. For the next 12 hours, we're coming live and direct from space to celebrate Radio 1's decade in Ibiza. 10 long years, 10 fun years. We're set for one of the most monumental nights of dance music ever broadcast anywhere in the world. We're coming up between now and 7 a.m. live from space in Ibiza. Radio 1 has assembled the cream of dance music luminaries to help us commemorate over 10 years of our love affair with the White Isle. Coming up, lined up, live DJ sets from Eric Morillo, Deep Dish, Laurent Garnier, Pete Tong, Above and Beyond, Fergie and me, Judge Jules, plus a classic Essential mix from Carl Cox, loads of guests, and Radio 1, a decade in Ibiza, the story, the definitive expose of our exploits on the island. So it gives me great pleasure to kick off the evening from our studio inside space overlooking the New Look Terrace. It's going to be big, I promise you. Cancel tomorrow's Sunday lunch and make sure your fridge is stocked up with Red Bull. We're going to be up till 7 in the morning, live here from Ibiza, a decade of Radio 1.
Fresh in town. Now select the lab, big up yourself, says please. Sing and big up Fatal Sound, Ivory Man, Rocket, and I'm the Jamaicans that's in the place of know that dreadlocks. I'm on with the step of fresh into house. Now select a dab, big up yourself, set speed. See now, fatal sound, Ivory Man, Rockety, and I am the Jamaican passing the place away.
Involves Youssef a few years back at the Sequential Radio 1 weekends with 3 Manumission dancers, a life-size mannequin leg over his shoulders, blonde long wig and loads of silly string.
My name's Deeper from Liverpool. Been out to every Radio 1 weekend. I'm dedicated.
I'm Jamie Cullum. You know, for me, I always dream about playing, you know, and to play Cafe Mambo watching the sun go down, I don't think anything's going to top that for my memory. It was just magical.
Hi, my name's Pete Gooding. I've been resident at Cafe Mambo for the last 10 years. Today's the best Radio 1 weekend I've ever seen. I think it's fantastic today.
People go to clubs a lot all over the world, but there's something about the vibe at the clubs in Ibiza that is just, you can't really explain it. It's a bit like being in a festival.
When Radio 1 announce when their weekend's going to be, that's it. Get your flights as soon as possible, because that's what everyone else does. This weekend I'm looking forward to the 12-hour mash-up at Space with all the Radio 1 residents. It's just going to be good to see everyone hopefully going the distance for the whole 12 hours.
Plenty more flavours, sights and sounds of Ibiza, celebrating our decade here, Radio 1 from Space, right till 7 in the morning. decade in Ibiza. Now, we're doing it live from the Space Terrace, which is about 200 metres away from the end of the runway here at Ibiza Airport. So far, I've turned the microphone on and got lucky. If you do hear the sound of a rapidly descending 737, don't worry about it. We're live from space, and on the show, it's a live show. There may be some strong language along the way. Do please tune away if you think you might be offended. Still to come, live DJ sets from Deep Dish, Lauren Garnier, Pete Tong, Above and Beyond, and Eric Morillo will be joining us very shortly as well for a chat. Celebrating a decade in Ibiza. This is Radio 1. think we give you Radio 1 a decade in Ibiza, the story, a definitive look back at 10 years of Radio 1's involvement in the island, including Radio 1's very own love story. One for romantics everywhere. When Zoe met Norman, it's not to be missed. This is Radio 1 in Ibiza, celebrating a decade of dance. A great day here in Ibiza so far. I was down at Cafe Mambo giving away a few tickets to some quite surprised people. We had a pre-party at Cafe Mambo with Rob and Chris from the Blue Room, and about an hour ago Radio 1 laid on a fleet of free transportation for everybody here in Ibiza to bring them over to the other side of the island to Space for the main event. And we joined the throngs of partygoers on the bus.
Welcome to Radio 1's 10th birthday in Ibiza. Eric Morillo,
way to space in Ibiza. It's been a slamming 2 weeks. We've been all over the place. Big up to Sketch, the General, all sorts of Swansea. Yeah, it's going to be a banging night. Yeah.
My name's Claire. This is my fiance Keith. We're from Liverpool in England. We got here yesterday. We went to Pacha, which was amazing. And we can't wait to go to space tonight. The Radio 1 weekend's going to be the best.
Not that everybody's giddy and excited or anything. Here's hoping you're feeling this way at home. Building your appetite for a Saturday night. Radio 1, a decade in Ibiza. Certainly look forward to it, everyone. Every particular year. This is Radio 1 in Ibiza. We're upstairs at Space. We've got plenty of people in attendance. Can we hear it from you? Now, you just can't compete with that lady. I don't know what her name is. So Somebody else it's difficult to compete with in terms of air miles and
my.
general Ibiza presence is
And sexiness. Don't
here we go,
forget
here we go.
sexiness.
Eric Morillo, or Eric Morillo, to pronounce it correctly.
Come on, make some noise! Yeah.
Well, you of course can be racing down to the turntables immediately after leaving here.
Absolutely.
We're playing your set live and direct. Thank you for turning up. Woohoo! The first of many luminaries. You've been to many Radio 1s in Ibiza.
Absolutely.
What would you say would be your sort of definition of the importance of Radio 1 in Ibiza to the island?
I mean, to me, I think that Radio 1 is very important because obviously the week that Radio 1 is here, all the crazy mad people from the UK come out here and represent. And, it actually kind of brings back to the UK to people who aren't lucky enough to make it out here, and they kind of feel a little bit of the sunshine, a little of the vibe through Radio 1. So I think it's very important.
I think sunshine's important. I'm getting some pretty bad weather reports from home today. and
I bet you're real depressed about that, right?
And of course we're at Space, and I have to ask you about Space. They've done extensive remodelling of this place this year. What have you got one sort of defining memory of your experiences here? I know you play a lot of the opening and closing parties.
Absolutely. I think it was the closing party for the 2001 after the whole September 11th, and obviously took a bigger meeting, and I just made it to Space. All the airports are closed and what have you. And as my last record, I played Frank Sinatra, New York, New York. And the whole place just erupted. People, flags, people crying, screaming, singing. It was just, just my hair stand up. It was so wonderful.
It's a strange one because obviously I was actually here. I remember it was one of those where were you moments. And when September 11th happened, I actually watched
just
it
talking
here
about it, I get the little goosebumps. It was amazing.
Did you actually see? Were you watching it on the news in Ibiza?
I live across from the river, and I could see it from my window.
You were in New York, right?
I was in New York. Yeah, it was a horrible time, but at the same time, I think that we've all become very vigilant, and we just gotta get those people out of here, out of everywhere.
Sure. And over to your record label, Subliminal, 100 releases and counting, and quite a few.
Over 150, man.
I don't want to underdo you. Don't want to do you. And you've got quite a few with Ibiza references in there, haven't you?
This year, we're promoting the Hurt and Fits Just Can't Get Enough record, which is becoming one of the records I hear this summer. Really excited about that. So it's been received really well, and I'll be playing in a couple of minutes. So
sure. Oh, here goes the plane.
Here comes the plane. Come on.
I mean, one of the things about radio is it's really important to kind of paint a picture for people who aren't lucky enough to be here. And we are literally 200 metres from the end of the runway. I can see the back end of a 737 just landing now. It went clean over our heads.
Yeah, that's my plane. It's coming to pick me up.
Hey, you've got your own 737, right?
Yeah.
And of course, what you do have is your own night, which is extremely well publicised across the island.
Subliminal Sessions, Wednesday night. We got all the hot girls on the billboards and on the posters and what have you. So it's a good night.
You avoided the temptation of putting yourself on the billboards and on the flyers.
You know what? I'd rather look at pretty girl when I'm driving. I don't want to look at myself. Thank you very much.
It's funny because Mauro Picotto's face is really big on his posters, and I nearly want to crash
It's all him. It's all him.
Anyway, many thanks, Eric Morillo. Thanks for joining us. You're looking forward to playing in a few minutes' time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys downstairs, yeah?
Saturday night, Radio 1, and all weekend we're celebrating the last 10 years of Radio 1 in Ibiza, and it has, let's face it, been quite a wild decade. Next up, we warn you now with some strong lyrics included. Pete Tong presents a very special hour looking back at the highs and lows of our summer events on this great island, including classic sets from Fatboy Slim, Carl Cox and Nicky Holloway. A word from all the Radio 1 presenters and punters desperately trying to remember what went on, which is quite difficult, actually. So if your memory's hazy, then listen up for a little reminder about the times when Zoe met Norman, Lisa got wasted, and Annie got booted off the decks, live on air.
The first year we decided to go to Ibiza, we decided to go for Radio 1 weekend because all the best DJs were going to be out there. Judge Jules, Dave Pearce, Pete Tong. From then on we couldn't face listening to it on the radio and not being there. It is as good as it sounds on the radio. Everyone is just up for it, everyone's just loving it.
Everything becomes a little bit of a blur out in Ibiza, doesn't it? So don't ask me anything too technical.
You go into party mode.
Because every night in Ibiza is a Saturday night.
You just can't really stop.
You get there all fresh-faced and by the end you're just like melting.
You either work or you party. You try and mix the two, you're in trouble.
Pete Tong, the man in charge of bringing you the highlights of Radio 1's time here in Ibiza over the last 10 years. I was here at the beginning, and I'm still here a decade later. There's been some great times.
If Radio 1 never went to Ibiza, I wouldn't have met my wife.
And some bad times.
There was a big fight in the DJ box.
And sometimes have been very, very naughty.
Lisa got involved. Lisa missed work. Naughty Lisa. Naughty Lisa. Naughty Lisa.
This is the place that it all kicks off for clubbers and DJs. We're here at Ibiza Airport. Stepping off the plane for the first time, like it was for Radio 1 in 1995, you're excited, a bit nervous, and perhaps wondering what all the fuss is about. Could be any holiday island, really. Until you spot the people in departures. Sleep deprived, a bit edgy, a few of them wearing sarongs. I can see some of them now. Probably just come off the dance floor at Space or DC10. Without knowing it, your Balearic journey has just begun. And if the last 10 years of Radio 1 Ibiza weekends are anything to go by, you could well be in for a life-changing experience. So here I am driving up the main road from the airport to San Antonio, Ibiza's tourist mecca and the British heart of this mad little island. Now the first thing you notice when you leave the airport are that the billboards don't advertise cars or shampoos, they advertise the nightlife. You're welcomed by Alex Gold, Eric Morillo and some bloke called Pete Tong, not to mention DJ Sammy. And the biggest buildings along the road are clubs, not factories. And up ahead on top of the hill just to my right is Privilege, quite literally the biggest club in the world right now. Which is where it all started for us, with our first Essential mix back in 1995, and the tunes were supplied by Mr. Nicky Holloway.
Radio 1, 1995.
Ricky Holloway's Essential Mix back in 1995, our first ever broadcast from Ibiza. That late night mix show really opened the doors to the island on Radio 1, because when we got back to London and told the bosses about 5,000 British kids, Radio 1 listeners, packed into the kind of club you just wouldn't see in the UK, they let us come back here the following year. Suckers.
Radio 1 Live.
1996 will be bigger and better, with my show, The Essential Selection, Danny Rampling's Love Groove Dance Party, and of course The Essential Mix. The Radio 1 Ibiza weekend was born.
Of America is as rotten, filthy, dirty, lewd, lascivious junk.
Beginning right inside where I am today, the mighty Amnesia. In those days, Radio 1 didn't pull off the kind of events we do now. They used to try and get me to go on the road show from Bognor or do under-18s nights. Wasn't really for me. Danny Rampling remembers the kind of events Radio 1 did back then.
Mr. Blobby and those kind of naff aspects of British society. But okay for 5-year-old children, yeah, lovely for kids. But in terms of any credibility, it was low on the credibility barometer. So really the whole Ibiza thing, Pete Tong, you know, major influence there, and Eddie Gordon, who's also played a major role, turned that whole roadshow thing upside down.
Matt Priest was the executive producer for dance music on Radio 1 and oversaw all of the live events.
You've got to bear in mind that Radio 1's dance music in those days was Pete on a Friday night before John Peel, and then Saturday Danny did the Love Groove Dance Party, and there was the Essential Mix, and that was it. We had 3 dance shows. Radio 1 viewed dance music as a very small niche thing that was kind of exploding, but I think the evidence was there. Hundreds of thousands of the audience are flocking to this place every summer. All the big English clubs now have got footholds, have got homes over there. You know, we had the right DJ and Pete to stage those broadcasts and explain it to the people back home.
James Barton, responsible for one of the UK's superclub brands, Cream, helped Radio 1 stage many of their Ibiza parties.
In the mid-90s, Ibiza had already sort of had its first explosion, but then as a result of the whole superclub and explosion and club culture explosion that took place here in the UK in the mid-90s, obviously that also made its way to Ibiza as well, when the likes of Cream and the Ministry of Sound decided to host weekly events, huge one-off parties.
Radio 1 wasn't nearly as cool as it is now. When we first started doing those types of events, promoters and people weren't clamouring to get Radio 1 involved because they were worried that having Radio 1 there would slightly blow their cool. When that's really started turning around was when we started going to Ibiza. People saw the impacts and people saw what a big deal it was having Radio 1 at your event.
Honey, bring it close to my lips, yeah. Honey, bring it close to my honey, bring it close to my lips.
Danny Rampling did his first Ibiza radio show in the afternoon in Amnesia.
Radio 1, live from Ibiza.
1996.
Saturday for you to see what your life can truly be. Rampling on your radio.
Danny Rampling, live Saturday night.
Buenos tardes, gente. We come live from Amnesia Club in Ibiza, the Love Groove Dance Party. Music coming from the Sunshine Balearic Party Island of Ibiza. We're lottery free tonight. Around 8:30 we should be bringing you a live mix, hopefully from the legendary DJ Alfredo from the island.
The production company organised Amnesia, so there are going to be people coming along. It turned out that Amnesia said we haven't got a licence to entertain people in the day. Therefore, I ended up in Amnesia playing to an empty club. It was spooky, with one of my legends, my legendary heroes, my mentor, Alfredo, who had introduced me to house music some years before in Amnesia in '87, and there I was, playing for Radio 1 to this empty club, and I was just baffled by it. Very weird, lonely, and sad in a way.
Salvation has come. We have found the one we can trust apart. Peace and war that caresses me, sets my spirit free. We
on the island in August 1996, perhaps somebody pokes a microphone in your face.
Ooh la la!
My name is Stuart White. I'm from Leighton Buzzard, down south near London. What brought me here? The DJs, the tunes, ambience, the people.
There's a lot of good clubs out here this year. There's good nights at Amnesia with Creep and Up Your Onsen, Renaissance, Miss Money Pennies and Ministry of Sound.
We're open all night as well. The water and foam parties.
The Dance Weekend, live from Ibiza, 97 to 99 FM, Radio.
As well as Danny's show, we did a mammoth Essential mix in 96 with me, Danny Rampling and Sasha. Truly heavyweight. And so the Radio 1 weekend in Ibiza began. So far, we've broadcast over 300 hours of programs from this wonderful Spanish island. Children have been spawned, brain cells lost, and the music has kept rocking. A short car drive across to the other side of the island gets us to San Antonio, to Sunset Strip, and to probably the classic Ibiza landmark in 1996. It was the place where my show launched, the Radio 1 weekend, Cafe Del Mar. So I'm sitting here on the rocks, looking back at Cafe Del Mar, with the sea lapping up behind me and a cold beer in my hand with a strange piece of green fruit sticking out the top of it. Cafe Del Mar, a place famous for its Balearic beats and the inspiration for the legendary chill-out compilations compiled by resident DJ Jose Padilla. And it's where those in the know would congregate to mark one of Ibiza's most important rituals. The sunset. Now, because of the time slot of my Radio 1 show, when day turns to night, it's the perfect venue here to broadcast from, relaying the vibe back home as the sun set over the Mediterranean.
Friday night's Essential selection then coming from the cafe in Ibiza. We made it, we moved the radio station down here, brought a couple of adapters at Barcelona airport, and we plugged in.
Pete's show goes out roughly during sunset time, which attracts people in its own right, really, to the area of Cafe Del Mar and Mambo, that particular strip of beach bars.
Judge Jules, who loves it so much in Ibiza, he owns a restaurant here.
Obviously, Pete's Friday is an institution, and the magnetic power of that broadcast has always been the kick-off for the Radio 1 Ibiza weekend from Friday night with Pete up until Dave Pearce's dance anthem.
Danny Rampling.
When I saw the crowds on that beach at Cafe Del Mar, I found that hard to deal with. Cafe Del Mar is the home of chill-out music, and then you've got, like, house, pumping house, and hundreds of people. They want to share the experience, but I think that was the wrong choice of venue. They didn't respect the musical, cultural side of Ibiza. It'd be very different now. Rob DeBank would be doing a show from there.
Hola amigos. Yes, that was a rubbish Spanish accent, wasn't it? It's Rob DeBank here, bit of a Ibiza veteran. Wasn't there in the first summer of love, but been going there the last 10 years. Ibiza's really kind of, it sort of just adjusts to whatever's happening. So, you know, you can have chill out DJs at Cafe Del Mar, you can have banging house, courtesy of the Radio 1 dudes. It's always just beautiful sitting there watching the sunset.
Cafe Del Mar represents the sophisticated side of Ibiza with its Balearic beats, but by 1998, as dance music headed into the mainstream, the makeup of the island was changing. For the next few years, Radio 1 followed the tide and went where all the Brits were going, about 20 yards up Sunset Strip, to Cafe Mambo.
1998.
Matt Priest.
We moved to Mambo purely because as the kind of culture of Ibiza changed, the Cafe Mall remained the same, and to this day it is what it was then. And it's Jose or one of those DJs playing beautiful chill out music, and they never seem to want to change that.
Dance music was headed into the UK mainstream, and Cafe Mambo targeted the British holidaymaker who just loved going out. They got Steve Lawler as resident DJ, and the rest came flocking. We had loads of mad broadcasts from this cafe overlooking the beach.
We're going to do a little song, especially for you nightclub people.
You are nightclub people, aren't you? Over to the management, the boss of Radio 1, Andy Parfit.
When Pete says at 6 o'clock, welcome to the weekend, welcome to Ibiza, it is just a magic moment.
Welcome to the Essential Selection live from the Cafe Mambo in Ibiza, the island where the weekend never ends, the clubbing capital of the world.
It's a magic moment because not only have you got that sense of occasion which you get from Pete anyway when it's Friday night, it's 6 o'clock, yippee, here we go. You've got him surrounded by thousands and you get that sort of swelling roar from the crowd and you're off.
My name's Chimpy, I'm 27 and I'm from Guildford. When they were doing it from the beach, that was superb. When you were sneaking out to go and get your lagers and come back in and try and get past the security guards, you couldn't really hear much, but as soon as you came around that corner and saw the size of those speakers, the music just hit you.
The atmosphere is absolutely amazing, especially when people know that they're going out live on Radio 1. The good thing about Mambo is you could see out to the sea and you'd have people on boats and I'd be in the sea dancing, balancing on rocks. Yeah, Pete would go, who's in the sea? Me!
Over the last 10 years, the Radio 1 weekend has firmly established itself as the major attraction for British tourists on the White Isle. This year, nearly 50,000 people are coming over each week. Tour operator John Davies.
Radio 1's like a pinnacle of the season. It's probably that midpoint of the year. It's the hottest weather. It's the wildest people. What you're actually looking at is it's mini creamfields coming about inside San Antonio, which is a small fishing village. But obviously, when 40,000-50,000 Brits descend in that place, it becomes a hell of a festival.
Ibiza veteran Rob the Bank.
Yeah, I think Radio 1 weekend's definitely been, the sort of linchpin in the whole summer, and it always seems to be the most mad, busy, hottest, craziest, sweatiest weekend of the whole summer out there. So I used to work out there for pretty much the whole season, 1 week on, 1 week off. Ended up having a nervous breakdown after all of that.
Tall Paul
is so intense for that Radio 1 week. You see prices going up and people taking advantage of just the amount of people that are there in the wrong way. It'd be nice to stagger it. Closing week would be fantastic. Opening week would be great.
Thanks to programmes like Ibiza Uncovered, the place had gone mainstream. So in 1998, Radio 1 decided to take its mainstream shows onto the island. Put them all up in a villa and invite loads of tabloid journalists. Is it any wonder that it all got a bit messy? We took so many people out there that year. Zoe Ball, Kevin Greening, even Emma B. People fell in love, people partied too hard, and some people didn't bother working at all. What a bunch of lightweights.
This was an enormous outside broadcast for Radio 1.
Emma B.
And we had this villa with a swimming pool, and it's genuinely a really difficult place to try and do any work. You ask somebody to do something in Ibiza and they just say, Manana, we'll do it later, what's the rush?
Richard Earle is one of Radio 1's precious backroom staff, part of the engineering team who run all the outside broadcasts and keep us on the air, even in those mad moments. He's been to Ibiza with Radio 1 for every one of the last 10 years.
Well, the villa was probably the biggest thing we've ever done over there. We effectively moved the whole of Radio 1 to Ibiza for the weekend, which meant we had to build a complete studio complex in a villa owned by a rather strange German guy who couldn't quite believe how much kit we brought when a 10.5-ton lorry rolled up the hill to his villa.
Combine that with vodka limons and Pacha, and you've got potentially a huge disaster.
my bedroom overlooked the pool at the back of the villa. I remember waking up one morning and found the Lighthouse family performing outside my bedroom window.
Matt Priest.
It was ridiculous. There was just random pop stars lying around the pool that just found out where this thing was. Every club you went to, you'd see Chris Moore coming in or Joe Wiley. It was hard keeping hold of people and tracking them down.
Right, dancing around the villa, and everyone had loads of really hard work to do.
Zoe Ball was presenting breakfast with Kevin Greening and basically went out all night before her show, where she hooked up with Norman Cook. You can hear the results.
Hello! Good morning from Ibiza! Hello! We are dancing in the aisle! How many people? That sounds good! Oh, what's going on? Hey! We're in the mix already. It's been a long night, hasn't it? Good morning,
I guess we got there on the Thursday night, and everyone was at the Radio 1 Villa having a kind of drinks thing, and everyone was going to bed. And I remember sort of saying to Kevin, you can't come to Ibiza and go to bed and do the show tomorrow and have nothing to say to anyone. You've got to go out. At which point, Norman Cook and Entourage turn up, and the famous line, which we reckon probably was never spoken, how would you like to not go to bed with me this evening?
We didn't go to bed at all. I took her to Cream Bar Manumission Motel, the night of mayhem, and it was the night me and Zoe kind of clicked.
I don't remember much of the evening itself. Apparently at one point I was trying to kick the pole dancers off the stage going, oh, you can do that, and everyone's going, no, Zoe, there's loads of press there.
And then I had to go on a show the next morning. We hadn't been to bed at all. We kind of drove to the show and hello, and they went, where have you been? We go, we can't remember.
And they're not saying very much during the show apart from, I think Norma Cook's really cool. And being a bit of a knob and leaving poor old Kev to deal with it.
Well, some of us are just going up to start partying, and some of us have been partying all night. And
Yeah, exactly, Kevin. We have one show, right? One show on a Friday morning, and what time are you in bed? 12? Get out. Just get out of it now.
His proper introduction comes later, but we are honoured to have Norman Cook in the house. Or at least
Mr. Cookers!
on the edge of the house.
Can I say you're my new friend?
Yeah, Zoe's my new pal tonight.
My new friend. You said go out and bond. Well, we did.
So that was the night that me and Zoe kind of fell in love, and it's all Radio 1's fault. Thank you very much.
Radio 1 live, Ibiza 98.
My name's Ben Cooper, I'm from Brighton. I'm a waiter back home, enjoying myself in Ibiza.
My name's Toe Streeter from Brighton. I'm out here for another week, been here for 2 now, it's alright, yeah.
Hello, Brighton, doing it for you in Ibiza 98.
Hi, my name's Steve. I'm from Wilson in London. I'm lying on the Lilo on Ibiza Beach outside Cafe Mambo.
Hi, this is Gemma. I'm from Wilston and I'm lying on a really cool beach in the baking hot sun.
Yeah, we're on the beach now. We're listening to Radio 1. Yeah, we're just waiting for Pete Tong to come along later to set the scene, and then off we go. Any club at all.
Wanna spell me? Cause you're mine. Better stop the things you do. Lying. No, I'm lying.
Whilst the daytime lot were falling in love at the Villa, the specialist dance shows were having it large for an essential mix no one would forget. It was me, Judge Jules and Danny Rampling at one of the most legendary club nights on the island, infamous for its sex shows, dancing dwarves and sheer scale as much as the actual clubbing experience. Manumission ran us a special Saturday night party for the first time in their history.
Manumission. It's the biggest party in the world.
Come see our new edition. Come join us in our latest fantasy. Welcome to Manumission. Brace yourself, you're gonna come with me. We're searching to find our paradise. Lift anchor, let's set sail out to sea.
I'm Mike, this is Claire.
I'm Claire.
We do Manumission. And all sorts of crazy stuff went on. Most of it would be too illegal even to mention on national radio.
Matt Priest, the man in charge of dance music back then.
We did Manumission for the first time, and that was the year of the Manumission movie. And the Manumission movie, let me tell you, was quite a spicy film. We were sat there as all the visuals had the BBC logo kind of spinning around in it, and all sorts of things were going on stage. And there was things in the Daily Mail saying, in a BBC-backed event with a live sex show. As a party, it was fantastic. One of the best things that we've ever done.
Radio 1 Live, Ibiza 98.
Manumission is apparently the biggest weekly party in the world. Everyone goes, but on the opening nights of each Monday night, there's a parade through the town centre in the West End of San Antonio.
There's loads of people on stilts, fire eating, juggling balls. It's just absolutely excellent.
And then everyone gets on the disco bus, gets in the cabs, goes down there and goes absolutely nuts.
Radio 1.
Emma B.
It was a huge night in Manumission. People were just getting lost. People didn't come back that night. There was snogging. It was hilarious.
I did warn them, but they weren't hardened pros like me, Judge Jules and Danny Rampling.
The management, you could see them sort of sitting there going, what have we done?
My name is Lisa Jansen, mother of two, an ex-Radio 1 DJ. I consider myself one of the good girls. Ibiza just blew me away.
Yes, not only did Zoe and Norman meet that weekend, but Lisa Hansen also got so trolleyed that she missed her show the next day.
Yeah, I went to Manumission and I had voiced the whole Ibiza Uncovered series, so I had seen and heard all about Manumission, and really shocking, you know, for its time, so avant-garde, so out there.
One of the bosses, Ian Parkinson.
When we actually got there, they wouldn't let us in, despite the fact that this was Pete Tong and he was playing that night. So we were jammed up against the barriers, and I was standing next to Lisa. And somebody said, oh, Lisa, you shouldn't be there. Why don't you come and join me in the VIP area? She did, you know, like a shot. And that was the last time I saw her.
This is where I stepped in. Lisa was actually a bit nervous about going out that night, so I took her up to the VIP bar and went off to do my set. I pleaded with her to wait there. Mike and Claire, who run Manumission.
We invited her back to the motel.
They obviously thought I was a really big girl and off she could go, she can handle it. And off I did go, and so just got caught up.
The motel used to be a whorehouse on the edge of town.
And then the guy that we rented it from, we designed it to be a love hotel, so there were water beds in the rooms, and
we had a strip pole, 6 Puerto Rican strippers from New York, and an otter who was in charge of them all, and she'd walk around naked.
So Lisa, what went on that night?
There are so many myths surrounding that whole trip and what happened to me. I might keep the myth alive and not fully answer this question.
Perhaps you can't remember. Luckily, other people can. Ian Parkinson.
Lisa did once tell me she went into the toilets at Manumission and a dwarf approached her and offered her eye drops. And she took the eye drops. Her view was that there was something in these eye drops, that they'd been doctored in some way, and that meant that she had no idea what she was doing.
Sarah Cox's husband, John Carter, reckons he was there that night.
What happened is all very shady and very dodgy. Even to this day, John talks about it in hushed tones, you know, like he brought down Parliament or something. All I know is that my husband was there at one point, Lisa Hansen was there at one point, and so there was lots of liquid acid, allegedly. Not to do with me!
She had a show to do that lunchtime, so things were looking a bit shaky anyway. And it became clear as the morning went on that she wasn't around. we did genuinely start to worry because, you know, here was a woman on her own in a foreign country and no one had any idea what had happened to her.
Emma B.
It wasn't like she was 10 minutes late. She just missed the show, totally. I danced like a loon and drank lots and lots and lots and went home and slept thoroughly. And the next thing I know, there's one of the executive producers literally shaking me out of my bed going, Emma, you've got to get up. We've got 20 minutes. You're on. You've got to go on. Lisa hasn't turned up. You're on.
Eventually, we heard from someone saying she was in a taxi and on her way back to the hotel. There was a slight problem there in that the hotel where she was staying was actually full of tabloid journalists who by this time had worked out that there was a potential story here. So myself and someone else from Radio 1 drove out of the hotel to kind of intercept her taxi.
Lisa, where have you been? We've been terrified. You've missed your show. Emma B's had to do your show. To which her response was, oh, that was really nice of her.
Would I do it again? No. Do I regret it? Yes. And that's life. That's life.
So that was the year of 1998, when Radio 1 was practically in bed with Ibiza. Engineer Richard Earl.
The whole thing just got too big and unmanageable, and to be honest, we reined it back after that. But that was true Ibiza sort of mayhem, really. You know, anything went, and I have no idea how some of it sounded on the air, but I'm sure it was fun, but I'm not sure it sounded that great.
In honour of the mainstream years, we're going to hear a little bit of a classic Essential mix from Fatboy Slim, recorded in 2000, because as far as he was concerned, it was the best.
My mom does more dope than I do.
Fatboy Slim is walking in heaven. Fatboy Slim is walking in heaven.
My mom does more dope than I do. Get fucked up. We get fucked up. What? My mom does more dope than I do. More dope than I do.
Fatboy Slim recorded at Amnesia back in 2000. I'm Pete Tong, and this is a special programme celebrating 10 years of Radio 1 in Ibiza, part of our Ibiza 12-hour marathon, replaying classic sets and reliving the highs and lows. Still to come, Carl Cox at Space, not to mention run-ins with the police, fights in the DJ booth, and plenty of near-death experiences. The year is 1999. The venue, Pacha. Annie Nightingale.
Ibiza began to have this reputation. Every year we went, something went wrong. And so you could feel Radio 1 were actually quite nervous about us all going. And thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen this year?
Matt Priest.
Annie Nightingale was in the Zenith room playing her breaks music, and the guy that runs it, it's his room, he runs it every night, probably had no idea about the BBC or that we were live on the radio.
I'm in this room in Pacha, and we're all ready to go, put the needle on the record, and off we went. This is now about 2 minutes before we're going live on Radio 1, and suddenly these big blokes appeared in the DJ box. I mean, really big blokes. So they took the needle off the record, and I was going, hey, what are you doing? Then they ripped the headphones out. I went, listen, what are you doing? We're going to be live in 2 minutes. And then there was a big fight in the DJ box.
You know, it was carnage. They wouldn't let us into the DJ booth, and they just really didn't like the music. So he was saying, it's my club, it's my, you know, I don't like it. It's my crowd. Been here since 1967. After a while, we realised he wasn't going to change his mind, and he had bouncers and we didn't.
They took me down into the kitchen for my own physical safety. I'm holding a microphone and I'm doing live links while the Spanish house DJ is playing out on Radio 1 all this really banal, dull Spanish house music in my show, and I was so upset.
That's the kind of thing that used to happen that luckily doesn't happen so much anymore.
It was a very jarring, upsetting, bewildering experience. And when we got to Heathrow, you know, you kind of show your passport, and the woman started looking at it, and I was thinking, oh no, because it was now about lunchtime the following day, and I was still up and hadn't any sleep, and I thought, if they're going to give me hassle now. And the woman just said, oh, I just want to say thank you for all the pleasure that your music's given me over the years. And I just went, I just burst into tears. I went, oh, thank you so much. I've had such an awful night.
The following year, much to Annie's grievance, Radio 1 went back to Pacha, but this time to their new beach bar, Pacha Player. And we brought new Radio 1 breakfast show presenter Sarah Cox along for the ride.
Radio 1 in Ibiza 2000.
Here we go, the Pacha Player years. We did the breakfast show there on a Friday morning. There was probably 3,000 people, all of whom had come straight from Cream. We turned up there at 6 or whatever it was, and it was just bananas. And it was the Radio 1 breakfast show, and it was like a rave.
This is the breakfast show. I'm Cox here. He is Rajesh Merchandani. We are here live from Pacha Beach Bar here in Ibiza. I'm so jealous. Everyone's on it already. I'm not. I'm going to join you soon. Okay, so if you're listening back in the UK, let me just tell you that the sun is already getting quite high in the sky. The sky is indeed blue, as is the sea. It's all rather marvellous. Lots of kids with the tops off. Lots of people smiling at me quite scarily. I'm on a vodka to celebrate. And it's 7:10 in the UK, which is nice. It's not normal, honestly, I promise.
The breakfast show has been broadcast from Ibiza for a number of reasons, none of which I can actually pinpoint right now, but I'm glad we went there. We had a great time.
This is Radio 1. This is a breakfast show coming at ya live from Ibiza. We are kicking off Radio 1 every weekend. So excited. We've got a massive crowd here now. Love you, yeah. Love you,
Very
yeah.
hard to sit to broadcast in Ibiza and imagine someone sitting on the M6 just outside of Birmingham stuck in traffic, because you're just that far away and you've got this weird vision in front of you of all these, you know, tops off ravers.
So we got through that one, and we were thinking all the while through, people had been saying, you haven't got the right licence, it hasn't got this, it hasn't got that. We did Pete Tong there that night, very busy but fine, and then we weren't scheduled to be back there until Sunday, when we were supposed to do Dave Pearce from there. We turned up there on Sunday, there's police tape around all the speakers, there's a bizarre system in Ibiza, a thing called a denuncio. Basically, you know, you can ring the council and sort of denounce someone. Apparently we'd had loads and loads of denuncios, and you just have to accept that's the way that place operates. So the most important thing was working out how we're going to get Dave Pearce on the radio.
Engineer Richard Earl.
We completely de-rigged which had taken about 6 hours to put together, in about half an hour. Threw the whole lot in the back of a truck, went up to Pike's Hotel, where the Club Tropicana video was filmed, and re-rigged the whole thing in about an hour and a half. Still got the show on the air. We had to steal the Cash Point ISDN line, where they normally took credit card payments for the restaurants. We actually pinched their line to broadcast on, so nobody could pay their bill in the restaurant while we were on air.
No one seemed to bat an eyelid at Pikes. It's just like that kind of thing normally happens. But it was a really close call, actually, and it was only through the genius adaptability of the Radio 1 OB crew that...
And Habit, Stay Pissed on Radio 1, coming live from Ibiza tonight, up in the hilltops of San Antonio.
Another classic Ibizan tale was when Rob the Bank made his debut on the station during my show.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever did anything for Radio 1, the first time the dulcet tones of Rob the Bank appeared on the airwaves, I was doing on-beach commentary for Pete Tong, who was back in the UK, and I was supposed to be kind of giving him a bit of a flavour, and I lost the plot and dropped my mini disc in the sea. I was just all over the shop, and so basically got brought back in the end and banned forever. I can't actually believe that they then gave me a job DJing on Radio 1.
It is hard to work and play in Ibiza, but with a few exceptions, most of our parties and broadcasts have gone really well. And you guys have loved it, coming back year after year.
Got the sun blaring out.
The clubs are the best in the world.
And you're getting burnt and you're getting drunk and the rest of it.
So back at Radio 1, the heads decided we should do our own event, bigger and run entirely by Radio 1, just like the Leeds Love Parade. So it was off to Ibiza's Arena by the Sea, a concrete amphitheatre which could handle over 2,000 Radio 1 partygoers, bikinis and all. And it's just over there on the other side of San Antonio Bay. Punta Moli, the windmill. Dave Pearce.
It was just a big outdoor space right by the sea, plenty of room for a few thousand people really, and a big soundstage. And there was room to dance. Probably the biggest crowds that we'd had at any of our outdoor events on the island.
Judge Jules, live in Ibiza.
Judge Jules.
For me, the couple of years spent at Punta Moli were the best times because it was bang in the middle of the beach. The vista was incredible. If you looked out from the stage, you could see just boats that had come sailing into the San Antonio harbour specifically for what Radio 1 had on offer. It was free, it was accessible to everybody.
Punta Moli, the crowd getting fatter.
2003. So we're here at Punta Moli, and when we moved here, it really became a big show. We had loads of special guests. The biggest guest I probably had in a couple of years of doing it was P. Diddy. He started making house music. He said he wanted to come on the show, and with the greatest respect, you didn't really know whether he was actually going to turn up. We were looking out to sea, and his huge boat came into the bay in front of us. And they're all dressed in white, head to toe, all his staff, and they came across on this launch, crowd parted. You had people, scantily clad girls holding bottles of Cristal. The next thing you know, he was on stage jumping around, took his shirt off, the place went completely crazy. Game over.
Give it up for P. Diddy!
Pete Tong announced him on stage and went, "It's P. Diddy," and you could audibly hear the audience gasp. Only Radio 1 could do this. It was an amazing moment.
Let's get up and let's get ill. Let's get up and let's get ill. Let's get up and let's get ill. Your dreams have now been fulfilled.
Let's get up and let's get ill. Let's get up and let's get ill. Let's get up and let's get ill. Your dreams have now been fulfilled.
Radio 1 Live.
Now, with the numbers of people coming to the island for the Radio 1 weekend getting ridiculous, it was getting a bit dangerous.
It just got bigger and bigger. It got bigger and bigger and bigger until it was a point when it was probably too big. And then we said, right, gone maybe one notch too far up. We need to get back down to what Ibiza's really like. And it became back about the music.
2004. Last year we scaled down the live shows, took our new crop of harder DJs like Fergie and Eddie Halliwell and put on a secret party in the hills in an old zoo.
Secret party that I had was absolutely awesome. Almost everybody just on the dance floor until about 6 o'clock the next morning.
Not everyone thought it was a success. Flight operator Shaggy.
My real name's Martin Makepeace. I run Ibiza Travel Shop. We were the only people doing weekenders when Radio 1 first started. Last year you had a very clicky party full of all Radio 1 and all their friends, and a few, maybe 200 or 300, 400 lucky public winners, which they looked a bit out of place really. It was too clicky.
Our last stop in this indulgent look back is where we're playing out our 12-hour marathon tonight, the home of the ultimate after party, Space. Here's Space legend, Mr. Carl Cox. DJing from his natural home, Space, where on Sunday afternoon into the early evening you could find 1,500, 2,000 gurning ravers. They've been out most of the weekend and they're not stopping till they catch their flights home. Carl Cox.
My role was to do the after parties for all the people who worked on Radio 1, for Radio 1, people who helped set up the Radio 1 roadshow here. I did the official after party at Space, so you would have the Radio 1 show on a Saturday night, and then it would finish at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Then we would start on the Sunday for everyone that was working hard the next day. And the first time we did it, I mean, I was there and able to actually take the turntables out from behind the bar and put them kind of close to the dance floor. There was a small dance floor at the time, and just kind of make it improv kind of after party, which turned out to be probably one of the most legendary nights that ever happened at the Terrace at Space, because it was never done before. Just had so many people that were still really ready to rock and still wanted to have a good time. Nobody wanted to go to bed, and it being kind of the unofficial after party for Radio 1 to create something unique and special, which was never been done before. So, you know, hats off to Radio 1.
It's been a mad decade, thanks to all of you who've come out and partied with us or stayed at home and listened along. Just like the music, Ibiza has grown up over the last 10 years. Clubs are branching out now with rock and hip-hop. It's expensive and yes, sometimes exclusive, but Ibiza still has 4 or 5 of the best clubs in the world. And if you love dance music, sleeping on the beach and starting the day watching the sunset, it'll always be your true spiritual home. Enjoy the night.
Radio 1, a decade in Ibiza. Still to come, Eric Morillo, Beat Top, Above and Beyond, Judge Jules, Laura Garnier, Deep Dish, Fergie, and The Blue Room.
Well, top that. Plenty more to come over the course of this evening until 7 in the morning. When we've been doing it for 10 years, we simply have to do it with a comprehensive coverage of 12 hours, and that runs till 7 in the morning. You heard the lineup, and there's plenty in store. So there you have it, the story of the last 10 years in Ibiza. By the way, you'll be able to hear an extended version of Carl Cox's classic Space Essential Mix from 98. That's a bit later on tonight. Next to me, we've got Dave Pearce, and I guess we've sort of traversed the memories of Ibiza, so maybe something that wasn't talked about as much as could be was the music. And we're going to ask you now to play and talk about your key musical memory from Ibiza over the past 10 years.
Okay, this is a really difficult one, as you can imagine. There are so many records, and when I looked in the special Radio 1 brochure that's been given out free on the island, what other DJs had chosen, there's quite a few records in there that I would have gone for as well. But this one particular track I've picked, it's just one of those records that still gives me goosebumps every time it's played. It particularly reminds me of the Sunset Strip in Ibiza. That's the bars like Mambo, and indeed this particular bar which this track's about. It's Energy 52 and Café Del Mar. So let's have a listen to it.
I'll tell you what, if I had a penny for every time somebody requested this track, even up to the present day, I would have many pounds.
Definitely, and also it topped the Dance Anthems poll of the best Ibiza tunes several years in a row. So let's whack it on.
Jules' Energy 52 Cafe Del Mar. Dave Pearce and Judge Jules. We're at Space tonight at Radio 1's massive party celebrating a decade in Ibiza. And Jules, we were just listening to that documentary just before we came on air in this sort of bar area at Space, the premier etage where we're hanging out at the moment. It certainly brought back a few memories for me. I heard a bit about the engineers talking about when the police shut down my broadcast from Bar M. I don't know what I'd done to offend them, but we moved very quickly to Pike's Hotel and did the show from there. But the weirdest memory I have of that particular event as well was that we'd overridden the ISDN line at Pike's Hotel, so they couldn't charge any of the diners for their food or drinks whilst they were in the hotel. And I got this whopping great bill at the end of the broadcast from this Spanish waiter who was rather irate. 700 quid it was. I'll never forget that. Anyway, what are your memories of different shows that you've done on Radio 1 out here?
I think probably one of my best memories is my sort of catchphrase is "the judge won't budge," and a friend of mine translated a sign saying "the judge won't budge" into Spanish and got thrown into the back of a police car. I don't know what on earth the translation was, but it must be something very rude about the local judiciary, and got a couple of slaps actually on his way into the back of this police car, which was he's dared not come back to the island since. He's called Wayne. I should give him a big shout.
Hello,
actually.
Wayne, who felt the full force of the Spanish law. Never mind. It's great to be back in the bars as well this year. I'm really looking forward to being back at Cafe Mambo tomorrow night for dance anthems, and for me that's where it really first kicked off, doing the live shows from Ibiza. You've done several different locations. Is there one particular favourite that you've got where you've done a live show from?
I think the beach at Punta Moli, which we had to stop doing because it became a victim of its own success. But there's nothing more gratifying when you're a DJ, not only DJing in the open air, because let's face it, with our climate you don't get that sort of opportunity very often, but also seeing people disappearing into the vanishing point, virtually into the sea dancing, and then at least sort of 3 or 4 times the amount of boats that would normally be moored around that area had come in. I don't know whether they were tuned in, but they were just sort of decked out with people, so it was a very surreal experience.
I think a lot of them were tuning because they were always flashing their torches and stuff as the sun went down. Anyway, more memories from Ibiza still to come tonight, but what's one record that sums up Ibiza for you in the last decade? I know it's a tough one.
I mean, there's a stupid story relating to this actually. I think I mentioned this on your show a while back, but I knew I'd been drinking too much one night when DJing in Amnesia, when the resident DJ Jason Bai told me that I was about to play the following record for the 3rd time in my set. As good as it is, 3 times maybe is a little bit too much for BBE's 7 days and 1 week.
What a tune. We'll play it the once though. What do you reckon? Let's whack it on. BBE 7 Days in 1 Week. That's Jules' selection of one of his all-time Ibiza greats. I also remember about the same time this record out was Hysteric Ego, Want Love. I think they were both out at the same month. I remember dashing around San Antonio record shops trying to get a copy after hearing Amnesia. Brilliant
Absolutely
record as well.
huge.
We're turning into train spotters here. We have to move on. Still to come, we've got live DJ sets from Eric Morillo tonight, Deep Dish, Laurent Garnier, Pete Tong, Above and Beyond, Fergie, and a certain Judge Jules as well.
Looking forward to it immensely. Not forgetting the classic Essential mix from Carl Cox, loads of guests, and Radio 1 A Decade in Ibiza you've just heard. Now it gives me a great deal of pleasure to kick off this evening from outside the studio and into the live arena. As we go down to the terrace, it's going to be big, I promise you. You want to be cancelling Sunday lunch tomorrow, make sure your fridge is stocked up and be ready to go till 7 in the morning on Radio 1 as we give you live and direct Eric Morillo from space.
En Ibiza.
Get your hands together for Mr. Eric Morillo.
us move, and it set our souls free. House was a way of life, and it made you reach out and raise your hands in the air to rejoice and sing a song of love, sing a song of peace, sing a song of happiness. House was our light of day, and it shone on our souls. 3 o'clock in the morning, on and on and on and on and on. House was our release, house was our sanctuary, house was our prayer, 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 prayer.
keep on shining. Brighter days on the horizon. My love for you will always keep on rising.
Essential Mix coming live from space in Ibiza. 10 years of Radio 1 on the island. Give it up for Eric Morillo.
Dentro do meu coração. Dentro do meu coração.
Radio 1's Essential Mix. Pete Tong here. Just popped upstairs to premiere the Taj, where our studio's been set up. An amazing atmosphere downstairs. There's already a good 2,000-3,000 people in there. It's quite difficult to do that at Space early evening, because there was 5,000 people in here at 5 o'clock this afternoon from the previous party. They get 2 hours to hose it down, so to speak. Anyway, you're listening to Eric Morillo, our first special guest of 10 years in Ibiza, our big party here at Space in Playa d'Embossa.
Drum in Ibiza.
My name's Jake. I want to give a shout out to everyone back at home. Girls from Barclays, Kirsty, Sharon, Dunn, and the boys Jamie, Sebby, Retos, Leighton, Steve, all the boys. Hope you're enjoying yourself from having a awesome time, yeah? We're the wedding on Ibiza, 10 years of partying.
My name's Anita from Dublin. I met my boyfriend from Stoke-on-Trent last year at the Radio 1 weekend, so it's also our anniversary too.
My name's Andy, from Maidenhead, and looking forward to a 100% party. Radio 1, same for you in Ibiza, and I'm here to celebrate it.
Radio 1 in Ibiza.
So our first live set from Space 2005, and what a way to kick it off. Eric Morillo on the brand new terrace. Now, Annie Mac has just joined us in our backstage studio here on the premier etage at Space. I went to have a quick look down at Eric Morillo. I checked him out when he was playing Funky Town, which was going royally off. I noticed you down there as well. What did you think?
I was just about to say Funky Town was my favourite bit, Dave. I loved it.
I used to play that track years ago in India, and I had a special lighting routine, because I was a light jock as well to that particular piece of music. A bit of a classic. Have you seen Eric play before?
No, actually, this is my first time, and I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it was really, really good. He's a smooth man.
He's a smooth man, and the crowd were just up in the air. And it's amazing to think it's this early in the evening at Space as well, and it's already firing. There's so much more to come as well on our special Radio 1 programme tonight. We've got sets from Laurent Garnier, Deep Dish, Above and Beyond. We'll be transit up, looking forward to that. We've got Julesy, who's disappeared somewhere with a big bottle of vodka in his hand. Fergie's on later, and of course, coming up in about 10 minutes' time, it's our very own Pete Tong.
But in the meantime, and in between all our live sets, we're going to be hanging out here on the beautiful Premier Etage Terrace here at the absolutely massive Space. We're also going to be catching up with all the DJs on the huge bill tonight, and we're also going to dip into our well-worn and battered DJ boxes and pick out a few key Ibiza classics for you, like this one. I love this track, Daft Punk, Around the World on Radio 1.
Around
world, it's Dave Pitts and Annie Mac. We're at Space at Radio 1's Decade in Ibiza. Don't forget, tomorrow night as well, I'm doing dance anthems from Mambo, and we're playing some of your all-time favourite Ibiza dance anthems. Now, it's quite a challenge ahead of us. We've got literally hundreds of records and CDs and music files, and we're going to invite you basically to sort of ring in from the UK, and we'll play your all-time favourite Ibiza anthems to the crowd in front of us in Mambo. We've also got some special guests down there as well. All the details online at bbc.co.uk/Radio1, where they're taking pictures tonight as well. And Annie Mac's up here. What's going on?
Well, I went to 3 clubs last night, Dave.
You are
3
looking
clubs in one night.
You've got that kind of a Ibiza days look, which is just about right for anybody in Space usually, I have to say. This is the appropriate club for that. I think we're going to catch up with some more of our guest DJs in just a while, but should we stick another tune on whilst we're rolling those classics? Here's one that reminds me of some very messy nights at Amnesia. See if you remember this one. By the way, I'll be digging out some Ibiza classics as well. My Eden residency on Tuesday, which I'm doing with Slinky this year. We had an absolute blinder 3.5 hour set on last Tuesday. Days just kind of drift by, don't they? That must be, I'm probably in your sort of state as well. We just had some guys just come up. Just want to say hi to Dolly, who's the only person out of 21 people that didn't make it on the stag do this weekend. From everyone else that's here hanging out with Radio 1. Anyway, you've got some of our residents to hang out with.
I've got 2 boys here called Mark and Adam, otherwise known as the Trophy Twins. Hello, lads.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Annie, yourself?
I'm very, very well, thank you. I'm really good. So, you warmed up for Eric Morillo earlier on, I understand. How did that go down?
Yeah, it was wicked. To warm up for somebody like Eric on Space Terrace on the 10th anniversary is mind-blowing, mind-blowing.
Have you played Space before?
No, it's the first time actually, and that new system in the terrace is just like fantastic. Crystal clear, it's just like the crowd is just going mental, so awesome.
You've been coming out to Ibiza for a long time as well, I take it. Have you got a love affair with this island?
What's that, firm desires? No, you've got a love affair with the party, definitely. You can't stop going out, that's his problem. Yeah, since about 93 for myself, which I was only 12, so I'm only 20-something now.
Okay, so also you are the residents, part of the new Radio 1 show, The Residency, on Sunday nights. You've had 2 shows now, I take it. How are they going down?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, to be able to play the music that you want to play is just great, you know, express what you do. And obviously, personalities over the radio is fantastic, you know, it's going really well, so...
What can we expect music-wise from that show? People don't know about you guys.
Everything. It's house music, from funky to hard to dark to deep, everything. And we get guests on, so we might ask you on.
Oh, I'd love to.
If you're lucky.
Oh, if I'm lucky.
You have to pay. I'm not sure who pays who, really.
I'll pay you $5 each.
That's the way it goes out here.
Right, Dave, what's going on now?
Well, I think as it's about Ibiza Anthems tomorrow night, we should tease the audience back home with some more. There's so many great classic tracks that you associate with this island. This is definitely one of them. Tori Amos and Professional Widow and Pete Tong on the way soon on the decks from space. That's still to come tonight.
Professional Widow, one of many Ibiza classics you're going to hear in this 12-hour marathon. It's Radio 1, it's Annie Mac, it's Pete Tong. No, it's not Pete Tong, it's Dave.
Hello.
Pete Tong is on the way.
He is. He's going to be on the decks in a minute. He's actually on the terrace at the moment, about to work his thing, baby.
Also, DJing right now is Paolo Modjo and Nick Fanciulli, but we've managed to drag Nick away and kindly's come up and had a chat. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
How's it going on the terrace down there? Is it good?
Yeah, it's really, really good. We're playing from 9 till midnight to his shots. It's really good fun.
Okay, cool. Now, you are a resident at Sundays at Space. How is this going for you at the moment? Is it going well?
It's been really, really good. They brought in a couple of new residents, like Paul Wolford has been really good. And
I love Paul Wolford.
Yeah, and Dan Ganancio, which has been excellent. And the whole sound of the terrace has just changed in about a year. It's been amazing.
Okay, cool. Well, listen, thanks a million for chatting to us. Go back down there and keep going.
Thanks,
and yeah, thank you very much, Dave.
All right, thanks a lot to Nick. And we are going to join our very own legend that is Pete Tong. He's on the decks, down on the terrace right now. So let's check him out on Radio 1.
Radio 1 en Ibiza.